The massive destruction in the old town of Homs shows the whole tragedy of Syria's civil war. But in the middle of this sad scene, some are beaming with joy. Zeynad Akhras is one of only a handful of civilians who lived through the entire 2.5-year siege of old Homs. I don't even want to think about it, she says. The last 3 months were the toughest because we could only eat grass and leaves all the time. The Syrian army sealed off Homs after it fell into rebel hands. Supplies of food and medicine quickly depleted. Zeynad's brother Ayman was trapped with her the whole time. He tried to find food and gather firewood for the little stove in their apartment. I took wood this size and bigger, he says. It's some of the wood rebels broke out of homes to burn. I only used leftovers. When virtually all their food had run out, they were forced to eat leaves. Ayman says of all places, he found the best ones in a graveyard. He asks me to try them.
Good? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Every day?
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he says. And each meal was just a tiny bowlful. For breakfast, we cut it up and ate it fresh with 1 or 2 spoons of olive oil and spices, says Zeynad. For lunch, we did the same thing, but we tried to fry it over the stove. We also put some water on it just to change the taste a little. What we always have to keep in mind is that the people who were stranded here were not only starving, they were also subject to intense shelling pretty much round the clock that laid waste to large parts of the historic town of Homs. With its use of heavy weapons and the siege of this and other districts in Homs, the Assad regime has been accused of using starvation as a weapon in the civil war. Zeynad and Ayman say their apartment was raided by opposition fighters dozens of times, and the rebels took most of their few remaining supplies. They took everything, he says: marmalade, 5 canisters of olive oil, honey, tea. They didn't leave anything. After more than 2 years of hunger, Zeynad is weak. She weighs only 34 kilos, around 68 pounds. These photos from a family celebration show her before the conflict began. Both Zeynad and Ayman are survivors. The siege of Homs may have left them frail and thin, but also strong in spirit and determination, and hopeful about the future. Frederik Pleitgen, CNN, Homs, Syria.